What's up my homies, a DJ80 here, and today's review is about some battery uplighters that I've brought direct from China via eBay. These aren't the same as the battery uplighters that I reviewed a few years ago. These are new ones. These are 9 times 15 watt LEDs, and they're a different shape as well. So here's a picture of the ones that I've bought, and yeah, let's open the box and see what we've got. So I've ordered 6 of these, and they came in one big box of 4 and a separate box of 2. This is what we get in the box. You get a little basic manual, you get a little free DMX lead, you get a remote control, you also get 2 screws for the bracket, and that's the wireless DMX aerial as well. There's your 2 brackets. And here's the unit, and it's a slightly different shape to my older square ones. And here's the back, so we'll look at that in a bit more detail. Oh, and you also get a power cable as well. It's an IEC lead. So on the left here are some battery uplighters which I bought from China about 4 years ago. And you can see a review for those on my YouTube channel. Just look for battery powered uplighter. Now these are amazing little lights, and they're still going strong 4 years later. They're fantastic and probably one of the best bits of kit I've ever owned, and they just do the job. So obviously this new one's a bit bigger. That's because it has 9 15 watt LEDs in it. And it's a different shape as well. So side by side you can see there's some difference there. So if we look at this a little more closely, front's all nicely finished, some plastic there. I've recently done a pat testing course, and I'm going to pat test these first before using them. So if we look at the back, starting from the top, this is the on-off switch, and if you want to use wireless DMX, it has a separate on-off switch. So if you're not using wireless DMX, you keep that to off. If you have that on, it uses up some extra power from the battery. It has a fan, and that fan was working when I tried it earlier, and I think that's because these can be daisy chained, so you can put a lot of voltage through them. This little section here is for the aerial. Here, so you get a little aerial that bends, and then you just screw that on. So you've got your IEC in and IEC out, and then you've got DMX in and DMX out, and you have your little digital menu as well. Just here is the microphone, so it can work sound to light. And then at the sides you've got your little holes for the bracket. Nothing going on at the bottom. It's nicely finished, and it's not rattling, which is always a good sign. And the screws, although they're not completely black, they are a darker shade, so they don't stick out too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pat test each lead and each unit to make sure it's safe, because you hear a lot of scare stories about stuff bought from China. I've never had a problem personally, but whenever you kind of mention this in forums and stuff, there's always people that jump out about safety. So I'm going to pat test all of them, and I'll let you know how I get on. So firstly, looking at the plug then, these are sealed plugs, cables in there quite nicely. They're rated at 13 amps, and I popped the cover off there, and it's a 13 amp fuse. And the 2 bottom pins are insulated as well. There's no rips or tears in the IAC connectors. And so far I've tested all 6 of them. Here's my little battery pat tester. All the electricians who are about to jump on and go on about, you know, they don't give a specific reading. I've just done the course for basic pat testing, and I've bought this unit and it tests the basics, and I'm not actually going to be using these cords when I'm out, so they're being charged at home. So just calm your cockles. This isn't really a video about pat testing and expensive pat testing equipment. So this is a straightforward one. I've just plugged the cord in, and then you just press the power cord button, and it tells you if it's got earth continuity, installation resistance, and the polarity is right. And it's passed, and they've all passed. So the power cords are good. Right, on to testing the unit itself. So I've plugged it in, and that's the power cord, and I'm just going to connect my clip there to the exposed wire. Now I've checked it, there's nothing rattling inside, there's no exposed wires, it's all a nice sealed unit. And so class 1, let's move it out of the way. And it's a pass. And they all passed actually. So I mean, no one actually buys new gear and then pat tests it anyway, I don't think. But obviously, because of all the scare stories you hear, I've done that for this one, and the units and the power leads are all absolutely fine. So let's move on to the next step. Right, time to spark it up. This is your power on. Remember, you only need to switch this one on if you're using wireless DMX. So you can probably hear that. That's the little fan whizzing around at the bottom there. There's my little menu lit up. Can't quite see that very well. It's daylight. So I'm going to use the little remote control that comes with it and just quickly flick through the colours. So let's see if I can make that a little clearer. There we go. So that's red, green, blue, white, amber, and it says purple. I think it's supposed to be the UV, and that's the UV working there. Let me try with the tissue box, which might be better. Probably not actually. Alright, so the remote control works, and what's this colour one do? Okay, so we've got some various colours going on here. Colour 2, that's a nice shade of blue. Colour 3, colour 4, CU, I don't know what that is. I'll need to have a look through the menu. Let's go back to red. So what I want to do now is just see if I can stick it on sound somewhere. So menu. Sound, yeah, that looks about right, sound 1. Got a little bit of flashing going on. Okay, so far so good. Wow. It's daylight at the moment, so what I'm going to do now is try them later on in the dark. Okay, so we're about dusk time now, and here's the two side by side. And this one's the UV colour. Oh, it's a bit dark now, so here they are at night. You can see the throw on the one on the right, it's the new one, and the throw is much higher. Well, I've just moved the smaller one that's on the left. I've just moved that out away from the wall a little bit, so that ledge doesn't prevent it from working. And just lastly, there's the UV one. But this is what I'm planning to do, but I'm right down the other end of the road and they're still really bright. So I'm just wondering if 6 of these might be too many. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do with these is I've got a plan for them. So they're not primarily going to be used as uplighting. I actually want to use them in a different way. And so I wanted to DMX them all. Now, I don't know a great deal about DMX, so I always use just sound to light. And my original plan was going to use these cables just to connect them and DMX them together. So I spent quite some time last night I got them to work sound to light, but even with the cables plugged in, I couldn't get them to communicate. So I messaged the seller last night. He's got back to me today and then told me how to do it. So what you have to do is this control panel, I'll put it on in a moment. You set this, you go through the menu here on this first one, and one of the menu items will say A001, and you press enter, and it will say sync, and then you press enter again, and you've got the choice of off or on. So you want it on, and then you have to switch all your units to that. So you set them all to A001 sync on. Then once you've done that, whichever is your commanding unit, and this one's going to be mine, I've marked it with 2 bits of red tape, electrical tape. I stick this on to sound to light, and then these all follow. And I thought I was going to need to use the cables to make it happen, but they just link up together. So I've put the aerials on, and they all follow as long as they're all synced on that first program A001. They all wirelessly follow this first one. So that's a real bonus because it means no cables at all, which is ideal. So I'll just show you what I had to do, so you know. And also guys, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, these little lights at the back here, they're battery power. Okay, so we switch it on, and then we switch the wireless Wi-Fi on, and then we do the same for all the others. So you see all the others are on A001. I've already done it to this one, and then I've changed it and put it to sound to light. So switch the wireless on. Okay, so you'll see the green light on the back of all of them is now flashing. And what I did with this one is, this was on A001, and then I go to sound, which is here. Now it only works on 1 and 2, so if you put it, oh, it works on all of them now. It was only working on 1 and 2 earlier, but no, it works on all of them. So let's stick it on 1 and enter. One sec. and they're all working. And so the next question you're probably going to ask me is what distance does that Wi-Fi work over? Now it doesn't say on the actual description, but I've got two here, and if you have a look all the way down there on the left of those bins down there is the other one. And if I tap this, tapping it, you can see it changing. So I'm tapping the mic here. So what's that one on? White, white, blue, blue. So I don't know what the actual distance is, but that's as far as I can test it today. And as you can see, that's an awful long way. So that's really, really good for those of you who are going to use these in big venues. Yeah, I'm not sure it gets much better than that. Okay, so I've got the new Uplighters. I'm using 4. This is for a 13. I've got one on that pillar, one behind the speaker, one behind the booth, and one behind that speaker there as well. I'm also using Equinox pulse tubes. There you go. I've got one sound to light mode at the moment. Right, well, I think that's about it. It's time to go to the conclusion for these then. So we'll start off with the negative points. So as you heard through the different videos, they do use a fan, and the fan is a bit noisy. It's not really noisy, and you're certainly not going to hear it when the music's playing. But if that's something that concerns you, it's just worth noting. But for me personally, I'd rather items like this and speakers have fans than not, if you know, if they're going to cut power if they get too hot, because like with speakers, if they just cool by convection, you don't know when they're going to fail unless you go out and check and touch them constantly. At least with a fan, you know that if it's too hot, the fan's always cooling it down, and if the fan's not working, then you know it's going to overheat, so you know where you're at. So it is a negative point, the noise, if it bothers you, but I'd rather have a fan than not have a fan. So it's kind of like a negative and a positive point. And then the only other thing about them is their weight. So the net weight for these is 3 kilograms, and that's just defined by technology, because at the moment the weight to performance ratio it is what it is until we have technology that makes these things less weighty because of the batteries. They're going to be heavier. So, but 3 keys each isn't overly heavy, but yeah, just things worth considering. Now on to the plus points, and as you've probably guessed, I'm really chuffed with these. These are just brilliant. They're really bright. They're brighter than my old ones, but obviously they have more LEDs. They're super functional. You've got your daisy chaining for power, you've got your daisy chaining for DMX, and then here's the leaflet that you get with it. So you've got all sorts of options if you're really into your DMXing, and you can adjust them and have bespoke colors. It's actually made me want to dip my toe into DMXing, and if I do that, I might do some YouTube videos to show my progress. They're well built. I mean, it's just, you know, all the screws are in, it's all there, it looks really nice, and it looks like a decent bit of kit. And the main worry for people about safety, where you saw me pat test them, they're perfectly safe units. And also another plus point is they're battery powered. I mean, a lot of uplighting is battery powered now, but I plan to use this in another way. You'll need to follow my ADJ Pro event table video to see how I'm going to use these. No leads, which comes with the battery power. So I honestly thought I was going to have to DMX them together, and the fact that you can just, well, it's amazing. So that's another plus point. And the price. So obviously I've included the price that they were when I bought them now when doing this video. That might go up, it might go down, but effectively these units are £125 each, direct from China. And at that price, for what you get, go on, show me something better. I challenge you. The delivery, I ordered these on Wednesday the 9th of March, and I tracked them on eBay, and we got to Saturday and they still hadn't shown as dispatched. So I emailed the seller. I said, you know, they're not showing as dispatched. And he said they go out on Monday, and I think Monday is the day that they dispatch all their gear. So if you're ordering anything like this, bear in mind, try and get it in before Monday, and then it goes out. So on Monday the 14th of March, they were listed as dispatched, and they arrived 9 days later, which was yesterday, on Wednesday the 23rd of March. So from the moment they go out the factory on the Monday, it took just 9 days for them to arrive. The seller has been great. He answered straight away when I asked about them being dispatched, and when I messaged him last night to get them to do sound to light and to follow each other, he messaged me back, and I got the message back this morning, and I did what he said, and it worked fine. So the seller's really good as well. So yep, overall I'm really impressed with these, and you will see them in action on my other YouTube video, which is customizing the ADJ Pro event table. But I hope that's been of some help, and thanks for watching. As always, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.